He didn't expect a simple shirt to change anything. At 72, Robert assumed he had already been sorted by society, quietly placed into the category of men who were expected to fade into the background. Restaurants seated him near the wall. Salespeople walked past him. Even his friends joked that style was for the young. But everything changed the day he wore a color he hadn't worn in 40 years. For the first time in a long time, heads turned. Not in pity, not in curiosity, but in interest. One woman at a wine tasting leaned in and asked, "Are you in fashion?" Robert laughed because just 3 weeks earlier, he had been wearing the same beige polo he'd worn for a decade. Quick question. When was the last time someone complimented your shirt? No judgment. For most men over 65, the answer is longer than it should be. Robert's story forces us to ask a bigger question. What if aging docent tea make a man invisible? What if the wrong colors do? Society has convinced older men that fading is inevitable. But the men who age with status, dignity, and attraction know a different truth. Color docent tea just cover the body. It signals identity. And today, you're about to discover the 5 shirt colors that turned Robert from quiet observer into the man everyone noticed. Why colors? Because after 60, every man faces 2 battles. The battle against blending in, and the battle against looking tired, dull, or older than he feels. Color is one of the rare tools that affects both instantly, without dieting, gyms, or surgery. The first color Robert tried was navy blue. Navy solved his first problem, looking tired. Beige, cream, stone, khaki, the so-called safe colors washed him out. They made his skin look pale, his hair more gray, and his energy flatter than it really was. Navy made him look alert, composed, worldly, the kind of man who still had plans, and it wasn't flamboyant or loud. It carried authority, the silent kind that says, "I'm still in the game." Ever notice how politicians and CEOs wear navy when they mean business? That's not an accident. It's psychological armor. After 65, many men fear becoming irrelevant. Navy fights irrelevance without trying too hard. But navy wasn't the color that made younger women look twice. That came next. Then came burgundy. Burgundy solved Robert's second problem, attraction without desperation. Red is the color of blood flow, confidence, and romance. But full red can feel too aggressive for older men. Burgundy and Merlot carry that same warmth, but with class and maturity. When Robert wore burgundy to a niece's engagement party, something fascinating happened. His sister whispered, "You look younger than the groom," under candlelight. The deep fabric highlighted his eyes and silver hair. People kept asking, "Where'd you get that shirt?" Burgundy signals taste, not chasing youth, but owning it. Yet burgundy wasn't the color that made strangers assume he was wealthy. That surprise came with the next one. The third color was crisp white. White solved Robert's third problem, looking dull. Most men over 65 avoid white because it feels high maintenance. But here's the twist. White is the fastest color to signal wealth, cleanliness, and vitality. Luxury brand campaigns prove it. Older men on yachts, at resorts, on terraces overlooking the Amalfi Coast. What do they wear? White. It reflects light, brightens the skin, and pairs beautifully with gray hair. It's the color of fresh starts and quiet confidence. But be warned, if you pair white with old cargo shorts, the magic disappears instantly. Society loves to assume older men don't care about being seen. White tells the world, "I expect to be noticed." But white didn't help Robert when he wanted to look effortlessly modern. For that, he needed another shade entirely. The fourth color was charcoal gray. Charcoal solved Robert's fourth problem, modern relevance. Light gray can look dusty and elderly. Charcoal, however, is sharper, more architectural, and distinctly masculine. It plays well with silver hair, tans, and deeper skin tones. It's the shade worn by founders, investors, operators, men who still make moves. Most older men age out of style, not because they get old, but because their wardrobe gets old. Charcoal fixes that instantly. At a dinner event, a younger man asked Robert, "Who's your tailor?" Not "How old are you?" but "Who made that?" The difference is enormous. Still, charcoal didn't make Robert look refreshing. For that, he needed the final color, the one that brought the compliments. The fifth color was soft blue. Soft blue solved the final problem: approachability. Older men are often placed in the serious category, whether they want it or not. Soft blue makes a man feel open, calm, and inviting. It's the color that makes strangers say, "You look well." Not young, not old. Well, when Robert wore soft blue to the farmer's market, the barista smiled and said, "That color suits you." A small compliment, yet a massive impact. Because at 72, compliments become currency, not vanity. Recognition. Within 90 days, Robert became something he never expected to be at 72. Visible again. Not because he changed his body, not because he chased youth, but because he signaled that he was still very much alive. And here's the bigger lesson. Aging gracefully isn't about disappearing quietly. It's about upgrading selectively. Color, more than almost anything else, offers one of the fastest upgrades available to older men. So let's leave you with a question. If one shirt color can change how the world sees you, what happens when you master 5? If you enjoyed this, your next step is simple. Tap the end screen and watch the power of compounding. It reveals how tiny decisions, made consistently, transform into extraordinary results over time, just like Robert's shirts did. Because wealth, like style, rewards the men who keep playing the long game.